Hello, everyone. This is David Newton introducing Rick and Peter Driscoll of Prestige Australian Financial Services and Maverick Developments. Hope I said that right. And this is our episode number 3 of Ahead of the Game with Rick and David. And our special guest today, Peter Driscoll. Peter, thank you for coming along in our program today. And hi, Rick. How are you doing?
Very well, Dave.
That's great. I'll just kick off with question number 1. Peter, how did you get going in your business? Tell us what you do.
Okay, that's a good question, Dave. So my business has spread pretty wide now, but where it started was I'd totally run out of money. I'd had a successful business and I'd sold it and I'd totally run out of money. And I thought I have to do something that's going to quickly generate me some cash. Now, I was trained as an accountant and I thought, well, the quickest thing I can do is do somebody's tax return and they'll pay me for it. So I got back into doing tax returns and I had no money. So I had to start marketing with basically no money. And I did 2 things. One was I created brochures I'd sort of like do 4 on an A4 page and cut them up. And I walked around my neighborhood and put them in the letterboxes.
Oh, wow. Really conventional. Yes.
Yep. So that was
Real
the first.
grassroots.
Yep. And then the second thing at the same time, like a no money option, was I just went through my phone contacts and I rang everybody. Now that had 2 really good effects. Firstly, I didn't skip over any names. So it meant that anybody that I had a disagreement with or owed them some money or anything like that, I had to confront that. So
it's
it
like
got me.
Mark seminar, right?
Yeah, a little bit. So it got me back in communication with a lot of people. And pretty much everybody that I rang, I would say, hey, look, I'm back doing accounting and tax work. Let me know if you need your tax return done. And it wasn't a hard sell at all. It was just a sort of, look, let people know. And then pretty much everybody said, no, I've got an accountant or I don't need it or I've already done it. And I said, well, if you or anyone you know in the future need that kind of help, just contact me. So that were the 2 activities I started off. And it was kind of funny. As I was making all those phone calls, I got a phone call back. And a guy had picked up one of my brochures in his letterbox. And he said, oh, look, I've got a bit of a tax problem. Can you come and meet with me? So I said, oh, yeah. I didn't really want to, actually, because I didn't really want to get back into tax work. But I thought I've got to give up all my kind of like thoughts about the way things should be and just kind of like follow the fish that's biting a little bit. Anyway, he asked me to come and meet him in the city. So I went into his office, which was in Piermont. He gave me the address for it. I went into Piermont and I got to the building and I looked up on the wall and I went, Google, I know these guys. So it turned out that he was a senior executive for Google. And he had some personal tax issues that weren't being addressed properly. So then I sorted out those issues that he had. And as part of sorting that out, I also proposed this idea of helping him invest in tax-effective real estate. He was on a big salary, so I suggested to him, invest in some tax-effective real estate, and this will, help your tax situation in the future. So he kind of was pretty interested in that. I then had to find somebody who I could partner with who could put the real estate deals together. So I found somebody pretty quickly who I knew and was very trustworthy who could do that. And this guy, not only did he pay to get the tax work done, but he then decided to do some real estate stuff. But the big thing he did was he was very happy with what I did for him. So he invited me into Google and I did a boardroom meeting with 5 of their top executives. And 4 of them signed up on the spot.
Wow, not bad for a wow.
Yeah, so this is from just putting I was working more on my suntan than I was in getting clients. I was walking around my neighborhood with my shirt off, sticking these things in letterboxes. And it came out of it that all of a sudden I had 5 top Google executives as clients.
Wow.
And then yeah, that gave me a bit of money, obviously. And what I did, rather than like spend that money on something for myself, I reinvested it, pretty much most of it, back into the business. And I went and saw a printing company and I said, look, I've got these brochures that seem to be effective, because I'd had a couple of other calls afterwards as well from other people. And then I started printing 100,000 of these brochures a week.
Wow.
And I hired another
100,000.
100,000 a week.
That's a lot. That's a lot of letterboxes there.
Yeah. So then obviously I couldn't distribute them. So then I hired a company to do the distribution of the brochures. So all of a sudden I had this little, very rudimentary marketing activity, but a bit of a marketing team building. And I started getting lots of inquiries. So, in fact, I got so many inquiries, I couldn't keep up with the demand for the work. So then I started having to hire people to do the work. And then once you've got that kind of thing happening, where you've got a marketing system that's working, and then you can put together an execution team, you can build the volume pretty fast then if you've got a reliable execution team and a good marketing system. And that's pretty much what happened, because that letterbox drop worked for a couple of years until it kind of ran out of steam a little bit and wasn't producing results. But we'd established enough clients out of that they were then referring their friends,
Wow.
and we got testimonials from the guys at Google. So then we ended up with executives from Google, from Facebook, from Atlassian, like a lot of the big tech companies, as well as just, like regular mum and dad type folk. And they were bringing their families and their friends and business colleagues. And so that business, that's how it all started.
Rick, what would you like to
Wow. The man that started a t-shirt, shorts, flip-flops, putting stuff in people's letterboxes. No, I'll have a story like that.
just whack on the ST50, right?
Yeah. Well, do you want me to expand on a little bit? Because it actually got a bit better than that even.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So what happened was the guy I said the guy from Google, I helped him do some real estate deals.
Yeah.
The other guys at Google wanted to get involved in the same kind of stuff. So all of a
We're
sudden,
going to spend the bonus check somewhere.
yeah. So what happened then was I kind of formed a more permanent relationship with the real estate guy, where I would help, and everybody was winning at it. We were finding really good real estate deals that were really tax effective. So the clients were winning, which was the most important thing. The guy who was putting the real estate deals together, he had this steady flow of clients, so he was winning. And obviously I'm getting a cut of it as well. So that kind of, like, I had the accounting and tax business up and running. Then I had this real estate sales business up and running. And then I just sort of thought to myself, and I think everybody who has a small business of some sort, this is very valuable what I'm about to say, because I went from just what I knew how to do, which was tax and accounting, to learning marketing and then getting clients in for that product, building a team to deliver that product, and then going, what other products do these clients that I currently have, what other products will they buy from me? And I thought, like, tax-driven real estate, it's very complementary to what I'm already doing. So we had a flow of clients coming in to do that, and we still do have. Then I thought, if I'm doing the real estate deals, everybody who's buying real estate, or pretty much everybody, there's a product they need, and that's a loan. So then I started going out doing deals with mortgage brokers where they would pay a referral fee, and a good referral fee. It was like from 25 to 30% of their commission they would give to us. Yeah. And it was because we were feeding them lots of clients. Like, it was multiple clients per week we were feeding to them. Wow. So we've got tax and accounting, we've got the real estate, we've got the lending. And then I just thought, who else can I add to that team? And I thought, people who are buying real estate and got big loans, generally they need insurances of some sort. So I did the same sort of deal with insurance brokers. And I was always thinking of it like my kind of primary or lead product was tax and accounting, but I was thinking very much in the sense of how Amazon worked, and particularly how it worked at the start.
Yeah.
And that was like build a community who trust you and you have their best interests at heart, and then gather together suppliers who are trustworthy and deliver good products to the community. And then, so each person in the community was coming in, and at times they were buying, like 6 products from us, and it might be from a $200 tax return. That client, by the time they buy real estate loans, insurances, and other products, can spend $50,000 to $100,000 with us. So
you're not an accountant; you're a marketing machine.
Yeah, well, it's like I said a couple of minutes ago. What I'm about to say is very valuable. It's this sort of thing can be done in any business. You've just got to sit there and go, who are my clients?
Yeah.
What else do they need? And who is trustworthy that I can rely on to deliver that to them? And then build the systems of delivery of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, since then, it's gone kind of a little bit bigger in that I was looking at these real estate deals and I was going, the person who's making all the money out of this is the developer. So that's when I started Maverick Developments, and we started doing we started doing our own developments. And then, I mean, just at the end of last year, I was thinking, what else can we add in? So then I brought in 3 other kind of lines of business as well. The first was a bookkeeping service. So we gathered together good bookkeepers and put together a package, and we started marketing the bookkeeping to our existing clients to begin with, because they're already with us, but then out to new clients as well.
That's right. You approached me about bookkeeping, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's I think that's how we first connected.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we brought in a business coaching system, which we now market to our clients.
Oh, okay, right.
And then we built a collaboration with some superannuation experts. So we started doing the superannuation stuff. Yeah. So, and I mean, still our primary product, because everybody needs it, is the tax. That's what brings a lot of people onto our lines. But now we get people come in, they want bookkeeping. So we do the bookkeeping. We do a bit of business coaching with them. We build their business up. They've got excess money. They want to buy property, and it's like a beast feeding itself.
It's like a big higher department store, You've got all of these different products, and go up to level 6, you've got all the elite products, and yes.
Exactly. It's exactly that. And the core kind of driver or purpose is that I've always had is to help as many people as I can become financially free.
Right.
So, that's with all the partners that I work with doing the real estate and the tax and everything, and the clients. Like, I'm trying to help as many people as I've kind of gone from that position of walking around in my flip-flops and my board shorts with no shirt on into a much better position now. And my kind of mission is to help as many people achieve that for themselves as well.
But that makes so much sense. And I tell you what, but I've got 35,000 clients in Australia who constantly contact me for all these different individual pieces, right? And I've got to constantly give them individual pieces rather than just saying, call a guy called Peter, tell him Rick sent you, he'll look after everything. Do you know what I mean? From my perspective, that would be like, thank God. Do you know what I mean? But it's funny. Most services or accounting firms won't make those things available. So I've got to go to the accountant. Then I've got to go to the real estate guy. Then I've got to get a tech. Like, I've got to have 8 or 9 different vendors for all these different people rather than the one-stop shop.
Yeah.
So it makes sense what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, like one of the things I noticed with accountants a bit too is they have their own specialty, and they kind of don't want to take responsibility for anything outside of what their sphere is. Whereas my personal mantra is I do nothing, I'm responsible for everything. So that what that means is I make sure that I recruit really good accountants who do most of the work. But if something goes wrong, I'm the one who steps in and makes sure it goes right. So
I like that mantra. I took it home, but my wife didn't like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What would you like to ask, Rick?
Let me ask you something, Peter. With what you're doing, I know that because I get lots and lots of excess. a big database overseas as well.
Yeah.
A lot of them are Australians, and especially, I mean, just as far, I've just recently taken finance into Asian countries where they've never had finance. The reason I say, so a lot of expats either moving out of Australia or out of Australia, moving around, but they go, look, two things. A, can they access their Australian superannuation fund if they have a superannuation fund to buy properties overseas? And secondly, can they speak to you about, because you're an Australian accountant working in Australia, talk to you about what they're doing overseas, or are you controlled about what you can and can't talk about?
Yeah, so it's a really good question, Rick. And with superannuation, obviously very specific area, very specific rules. First off the cuff, I'd be happy to talk to anyone you've got who's got any questions about it. It may be that I have to defer to our superannuation experts to get the answer for their particular situation.
Yeah.
It's for Australian expats. The tough thing is when setting up a self-managed super fund, generally the management of it has got to be in Australia. So they won't let you have a self-managed super fund if you're not a resident of Australia. So,
Right.
Well, that's what the rules were, and I don't think they've changed since that was brought into place.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say you're a resident of Australia,
Yep.
and you want to invest in overseas companies. So you want to invest in Hong Kong, Singapore, and it's kind of, but you're very upfront about it. You say to the Australian Tax Department, I've got a Hong Kong, Singapore stuff. I put some stuff through Dubai, although a lot of people are moving out because they've just brought in 9% company tax. Can you do all these sorts of things, or A, it's probably frowned about Australian accountants, even if you knew how to set up international entities?
Yeah.
And it was all about, are you allowed to do this as an Australian accountant for people who travel around the world or not?
Yeah. So with superannuation, there's this thing called the sole purpose test.
Okay.
And how the sole purpose test works is that the sole purpose of the super fund has to provide for the member's retirement.
Yep, got it.
Okay. So once you've ticked that box, and that's a very critical one. If you're not ticking that box, and that kind of, what that did is it captured things like people buying a holiday home or buying racehorses or, more exotic type things. That was the tax office sort of blanket way of going, no, this is about retirement. So applying that, and we're not talking about specific types of investments, we're talking generally here. So
correct. Yeah.
If somebody's got a specific investment in mind, happy to talk to them about it and see if it would be suitable for a super fund. What we tend to do a lot with these kind of things is if an overseas investment comes up, we have some auditors outside of our firm, so they're independent of our firm. We'll take it to the auditors and go, hey, look, if this person invests in this, will you sign the audit report saying they've complied with the superannuation law?
Got it.
Okay.
Understand. Yeah.
So and without saying, yes, you can invest in everything, there's nothing specifically that says you can't invest overseas. So if it satisfies the sole purpose test of providing for the members' retirement, and we bump it off our auditor and they give it the green tick, then we'd say, yeah, go ahead with it.
Well, the only other question I've got, you being an accountant that you are, how did you come up with a name like I Love PAFs? I mean, really, I was expecting Peter's Accounting Company, which would have a name which is about as excitement as like molasses dripping down the side of a tree. And when I saw I Love PAFs, I thought, okay, we're going to get this guy on because he's a little bit different, right?
Okay. So what it actually was is the full name of the firm is Prestige Australian Financial Services.
Okay.
And I think most people think that's a little bit of a mouthful. So PAFS is PAFs.
Yeah.
And then when I went to register the domain name pafs.com or pafs.com.au, that name was already taken. So I thought, what I want to create amongst my client base this feeling every time they think of Prestige Australian Financial Services or PAFs is they think, I love PAFs.
Yeah, right. I love it.
Yeah.
It's the sort of thing that makes you run to your accountants.
Yeah, exactly. We want them to experience the love.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm just
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. Over to you, Rick.
Okay, so Peter, I don't think you've answered it. Is that people are going to go, well, what makes you different from everybody else I'm going to find in the yellow pages? But I think you've covered it, because you've actually said that when the person walks into you, it's like the one-stop shop. It's like going to the shopping mall rather than going to the strip shops where you're going to go to the butcher and the baker and the newsagent. With you, you're kind of going to the shopping mall and you're all inside, right? The one house.
Yeah, I think what you say is absolutely correct, Rick. And from a practical level, that's very true. Is that we are basically a one-stop shop. We can provide a lot of those services, or we have long-term collaborative partners who can provide those services. But I think the thing that makes us even more unique is that, like I said before, our purpose is to help as many people as possible achieve some sense of financial freedom. So everybody we bring into our team to provide whatever services has that drilled into them pretty heavily. And if they're not thinking like that, we sort of move them out of the team and find somebody who does think like that.
Yeah. Okay. And so what do you find yourself doing today on a day-to-day basis? I remember when I had a lot of staff, I found about 70% of my time was managing other people. What do you find yourself doing with yourself between 9 to 5? Because I'm sure you're not doing people's tax returns.
Yeah, no, I mean, the only time I get involved in tax returns is I have over 30 years experience. I've probably done about 50,000 tax returns. So if something tricky or unique comes up, they might bring me in to point them in the right direction on it. Yeah. So basically I'm doing what you said, Rick, is I start each day where I have some key indicators that each of those departments, tax, real estate sales, property development, lending, insurances, where there's key indicators that they should be hitting. If they hit them, I send them an email saying, good job, keep going. And if they don't, I send a please explain. So that's
yeah, I get that.
That's the first part. And I think you kind of picked a big part of my personality, Rick, when you said you're not an accountant, you're a marketer. Because a lot of my time then is spent with my marketing team going, like, we've just started a series of webinars. So we've got a tax and accounting bookkeeping webinar. We have a separate one for property. We have a separate one for business coaching. So I'm either working with them on what I think our clients would like to hear, and then how to market those webinars as well. And then just general marketing across all of the businesses as well.
Yeah. I'm just curious, when you did all of this, brochures and everything like that, is that what built your email list to being 60,000 or so? You said it's about pretty high.
Yeah, not entirely. So there's a few things that built. So we got the original lot from our client base, and then there's a few other things that I was able to do. Is that and we've got to be a little bit careful, because obviously the laws around spam and that kind of stuff are changing and getting tighter all the times.
True.
But one of the things, and I've spoken to, is it ACTA, the communications, the government communications body?
Yep.
Yeah. So I've spoken to them about it. But we have a number of online funnels. So we have our own funnels that we've built, and we also have some external funnels that are sort of other proprietary funnels owned by external companies. So in Australia, the big one for us is OneFlare. We use that one a fair bit. So when people approach us, we can then start getting into the marketing conversation with them as well.
Okay.
So we set up inside our CRM, so customer resource management system.
Yeah. Correct.
Are you familiar with the company called Zapier?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It ties everything together, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what we have is,
I don't use it myself, but I'm probably close to using it on my business later on. Yeah.
So we have people coming in on our funnels, and we're probably getting, at tax time, we probably get like 500 inquiries a week. At this time of year where it's a bit quieter, it's probably like 50 inquiries a week. So what happened was, as those inquiries had come in across all the different channels, they would leave certain data in the funnels, and then we set up Zapier to scrape that data into our CRM.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
And that's how the majority of it happens. Is we've got
So it's kind of like an evergreen funnel that you've got there, which is on the most popular type of topics there, such as returns and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that one I mentioned, OneFlare. It's a service that just promotes different, like it promotes plumbers, builders, handymen, accountants, and then when somebody will search like accountant in Newcastle, and up will pop if they meet certain criteria. We can with OneFlare we can actually create certain criteria. So we mainly only deal with people who don't want a face-to-face meeting. So we do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
most of the stuff we do is virtual.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fed all that traffic in. And as you guys would know, like one person represents 100. If you do a good job for one person, they're like, they represent a lot of people. That
word of mouth is the best marketing you'll ever do.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with that. I kind of think doing a great job for somebody is the start of that word of mouth experience.
In other words, you've actually got meat on the bones with what you do with your business, and because you've got that, everything's built around that. So if you don't have that, then you don't really have a business, and it's very hard to refer anybody that's not doing anything, not an ace at their job, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think if you do a great job for someone, one of the key things to do is if you do a great job and they're really happy, just ask them to write something nice about you. And that's and we have that system set up now so that at the end of each month, we have a girl in our marketing team who every job we finish for the previous month, she contacts the person we did that job for and asks them to write a review. Now, if they don't write a review, we go through a process and find out why they're unhappy, and we try and get them back on board as well. So it's a customer service job, but it also builds a bit of online credibility as well.
Right.
That's so important you say that, Peter.
What would you like to ask, Rick? Just
I just want to make a comment. Is that like people can spend a lot of time marketing, right? A lot of money marketing. But when people say, hey, Peter, who's the best plumber? Who's the best electrician? Who's whatever? The referral that comes out of your mouth will beat all the millions of dollars that you spend on marketing and putting ads out there. Do you know what I'm saying? Word of mouth will beat everything, right? So I always think you can spend business in marketing, but if everybody always refers you to someone good, they're never going to refer you to someone bad. So it'll always be the best thing, right?
That is so true. And I do spend a lot of time and effort marketing. And I was thinking recently, I did a good job for one client. He referred me to one of his friends. That friend spent $50,000 with us in the first month. And I was thinking, how much money do I have to spend on marketing to bring in a $50,000 a month client?
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's
and smart people never refer you. Like if you get a smart person, right? You say, who's the best this? They're never going to give you the second best because it reflects on them. So smart people will always refer to smart people, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, look, you've given us a rip-roaring session here today, Peter. This is really
makes
good.
Everybody's going to want to be an accountant, Peter. You've got to be sitting at home now going, I'm going to go and study accountancy.
Well, okay, let me add an extra bit in, and this will definitely seal the deal on everyone wanting to be an accountant. I start my day every day by going surfing.
Yep.
And then by 11 o'clock, I'm on the golf course.
Oh, wow. I love it.
That's every day.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's being able to create the system. And that doesn't mean I don't work outside of those hours. I do. I work hard. But being able to create that system and having the right ethics and the right people around you, it's amazing what you can create.
Well, you're doing all those Facebook Lives all the time, I noticed. All the time. Hardly a day goes past, Rick. He's not on doing Facebook Lives online.
That's right.
Saying, here I am, I'm at this airport now, and I'm going over here. And by the way, I'm just walking up here by the beach. And
that's right.
Yeah, well, people buy into people, right? They don't buy into stuff. People buy into people. It's great.
Yeah.
They don't buy a logo, don't they? They buy a person. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I genuinely like helping people improve their financial situation. Because I know how tough it is when you're doing it tough financially. Everything sucks.
Yeah.
And when you start to get some money in, you can then start, making some choices and doing not only for yourself, but whether it's for your family or your community or church or wherever you want to put your money. Once you start making some money, life gets a bit easier for you. Yeah.
Well, look, we'll close off at this point here. Might have to have you back again sometime in the near future there, Peter. You got some good stories there. Get you pumping a little bit more with some more stories. And thank you again. So thank you, Rick, and thank you, Peter. And I'll put some of your contact details in the comment section below. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Peter.
Cheers.